Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Live Beyond Average podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Miller, jumping on today because I have been thinking so much about all these different ways to have more success in your health and fitness journey. Now, as we always talk about, we relate things quite often into health and fitness, but they apply to every other area of our life. So here, through the lines here, community. I've been thinking about this so much this last week. Within my private coaching app where I train my clients, I have like a community forum, a group help page. And so within all of that, people can interact. We do group challenges. We do all these things. And it really got me thinking about how much does community play a factor in our success in our health and fitness. And I got to thinking about all the different types of health and fitness, all these different genres, if you will, or niches that people are in with health and fitness. I mean, you have bodybuilding, you have powerlifting, you have generic exercise, you have weight loss, fat loss, you have CrossFit, you have all these different athletic pieces. And within all of those, there's bits of community within all of those. And so what I've noticed, I've been coaching people since 2011 and thousands of people. And what I've noticed is that the people that interact, that dive into communication the deepest, have the most success. And it's not always that they have, the most success with weight loss always, even though that is a correlation. It really does help. But they continue on their journey without having these big, massive fall-off points where they just stop exercising or anything that isn't more focused on improving themselves. And so people that communicate, dive into community and interact do better, at least in my sample size of people over the last 14, 15 years of training people. And I just find that super interesting. So I got to looking at and just thinking about the different areas in other areas of fitness where success was shown through a community. And CrossFit's definitely one of those. You look at CrossFit and it's like the joke is, right, that how do you know if somebody does CrossFit? Don't worry, they'll tell you, right? And so there's the funny parts of these things, but they're so true because the reason why people do well and get results within those walls of CrossFit is because the community piece, that part, is so big. And so people really start to feel a belonging there. They look forward to going more than just to go get a workout in, but because they belong to something bigger, something greater. They're showing up for something greater. And that really matters to people, whether they consciously know that or not. Having those pieces of accountability and having that family and community within that helps them continue on the days that they don't want to go, the days that they'd rather not go hit the gym. That community aspect is something they look forward to, the interaction with people back and forth. And you really look into some of these communities and these families and you're like, man, what they do for each other and help each other during rough times is nothing short of magnificent. And so that's really one of the prime examples of community within the health and fitness world. But then you even look at, you have some of the power lifters and some of the strongmen or some of the bodybuilders that they might not look as much as part sometimes as community aspect, because a lot of times they seem very raw, very doing it on their own. But really, even if they don't know it, they're still part of a greater community. Even if their day-to-day is, I'm going to the gym on their own, they're hitting it hard. Many of those people have coaches. If you have a coach, you're part of a greater community. You actually have family. You're part of the community. And even when you're in the greater genre of things, there's a community there waiting for you. So if you're a strongman competitor and you're training day in and day out on your own, and you feel like a lone wolf in there, you're still going and competing within the greater community. Same with bodybuilding, same with powerlifting. And I've been to all of these things. I've witnessed the powerlifting meets. I've been in the bodybuilding stages, all of those things, and the greater community is always supporting. Powerlifting is one of those crazy things that looks very raw and lone wolf. But I don't know if there's a better room that you walk in where people are cheering for each other and competitors. I had trained some people before where literally my competitor forgot their belt and nobody else in that room was their size. There was one other person that was in the same weight class competing against and was lifting right before this person, took off their belt, gave it to my competitor to use for their lift. I mean, what does that say about community? And so I think and I believe that community plays this much bigger factor than what we think. Even if you feel like you're in this lone wolf time where you're hitting the gym on your own and you're doing these things day in and day out on your own, there is a time and a place where you do oftentimes step into things alone to have something to learn and to grow in the inner parts of yourself. But once those pieces in the inner parts of yourself really truly grow and they start to expand and grow outwards, they will always become part of family and community because our souls will search for that. And so we don't always want to continue to think about, I'm just doing this on my own and have that type of mentality, but how when we grow on our own, how that affects the greater good, how that actually positively affects people around us when we meet into it. And so when we have that positive effect, when we grow ourselves, and then you're walking in the day in and day out of life, and that's positively affecting other people that you come in contact with around you, then you're actually partaking in greater community again. So it really comes down to how we're defining community, how we're defining family. Are you defining family as just thinking you have to be in a room with a whole bunch of people? Is that how you define community? A whole bunch of people? Or is it another person that you're coming in contact with, other people that you're doing life with? It doesn't have to be a very large number. It can be one. And therefore, then you're part of something bigger. You're part of something greater. And so oftentimes when we're thinking about things, we just define things differently than other people. And how we're defining things and thinking about things does matter. We have to grow in our thinking. We have to really mature in how we view things. And so as we're looking to improve in our health and fitness, how do we have more success and move forward and grow and reach our goals and our ambitions and our dreams and continue to grow them? Our community that we're in truly matters and will help propel you further faster. It matters. And so if you're not in part of that community, I would definitely search out on either getting a coach to be a part with, to grow with, expand your thinking, expand your knowledge, expand your inner growth. A lot of coaches, especially like myself, don't just challenge my clients on physical aspects. Although the main part, we get you on my private coaching platform. Yes, you're having your daily training. Yes, you're having different challenges, our nutrition, things like that. But the communication where you're growing at a spiritual level, you're growing mentally, you're intellectually even expanding, your heart's expanding because you're opening yourself up to something greater. And though it may seem like, okay, this is a selfish thing, I'm working on my health and fitness, it's very ironic that when you actually start working on yourself, how much it actually affects the greater good. It affects the people directly around you. And you start finding out that that was the least selfish thing you could actually do, was start working on yourself. It really matters the community you put yourself around, the people that you put yourself around to help propel you forward in your life will make a much bigger impact than you think. So I would encourage you with that today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. If this encouraged you, also share it with somebody that you think it would encourage also. We need your help always getting the message out. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon.